In a bid to find ways to stabilize the foreign exchange market in Nigeria, an ad hoc committee of the House of Representatives is to meet with the Central Bank of Nigeria, Bureau de Change, banks and other establishments operating in the sector. This was one of the resolutions reached by lawmakers when considering a motion on the lingering scarcity of foreign exchange in the country. The House has also mandated the committee to know the establishments that have been obtained foreign exchange at subsidized rates from the central bank and how the funds were spent. According to the report read by a member of the House of Representatives, Ali Issa, despite the CBN's weekly release of forex to the BDCs and banks, the value of the naira against the dollar and pound sterling continues to depreciate, further worsening the economic conditions of the country. The continuous weakening of the naira against the dollar has affected the production of goods and services and has consequently made life more difficult for most Nigerians, the report stated. The committee is, however, expected to report back in 4 weeks. And now the Nigerian Labour Congress, the President Institute of Productivity and Business Innovation Management, Mr. Remi Dairo, and the President Committee for the Defense of Human Rights, Malachi Ugumadu, have kicked against the plan of the federal government to borrow from the 5.8 trillion naira pension fund. Also, the President Nigerian Voters Assembly, Mr. Mashood Erubami, noted that the pension fund could not just be spent by the government without following due process. There have been reports that the federal government is perfecting plans to borrow from the huge workers' pension fund to, and among other things, develop the nation's decaying infrastructure. Others have also reasoned that the fund could be used to get the country out of the current economic recession. The NSU, however, warned the federal government against tampering with the stipulated investment guidelines for the 5.8 trillion naira pension fund contributed by workers in the country under the contributory pension scheme. And now from stories around Africa. At least 20 soldiers have been killed in Niger in an attack on a camp for Malian refugees, officials say. The attack took place in the western Tahoua region, Prime Minister Briggy Rafini told State TV. Assailants targeted a military post near the camp, a local official told the Associated Press. Northern and central Mali remain unstable nearly 4 years after France led a military intervention to drive out jihadists. 3 soldiers were also injured in the attack, the local official said, and the Prime Minister Rafini and the death toll could actually rise. Last month, 2 refugees were killed when unidentified gunmen attacked a security post near Niger's Taberi Barre camp, which also houses Malian refugees. Niger's military is currently battling Boko Haram militants, launching raids across the country's southern border from Nigeria, as well as attempting to prevent violence spilling over from Mali to the west. And now Zimbabwean President Robert Mugabe has announced plans to water down a contentious law obliging foreign companies to hand over most of their shares to black Zimbabweans. The indigenization law has been blamed for choking off investments. It has never been fully implemented, and Mr. Mugabe has previously said many sectors of the economy are exempt, but it has been widely criticized, including by the IMF, for contributing to the collapse of the economy. In March, Zimbabwe threatened to close all companies that failed to comply with the legislation, which was passed in 2008, before later saying banks would be exempted. The government says the aim of the law is to empower the majority black population who were disadvantaged by colonial rule, but critics say it has actually benefited Mr. Mugabe's allies. Speaking at the opening of the parliament, Mr. Mugabe also said the government would debate a bill on cybercrime. Political activists say this could be used against opposition supporters using social media as a way of circumventing security laws, banning gatherings without police permissions. There have been a number of protests against the government in recent months, largely because of the worsening economic situations. We'll go on a short break. More news when we return. Do stay with us.